Hi, this is Brandon Spillane from thirstgym.com. Today we're talking about an exercise called the single leg press. It's a unilateral based option of the leg press. The leg press can be great for just putting on general hypertrophy on your lower body. And I would say that you probably see it in most facilities and commercial gyms for sure. It has its ups and its downs, but I do think the single leg press has a little bit more use, in my opinion, than the bilateral option where you're using both legs. So there's obviously a plethora of different types of leg presses out there, but for the most part, you've got the sled, the seat, and a way to unhook it. All the other variations are just going to be very subtle in terms of comfort and some different amenities and options that you have. So with our leg press here, we got a top and a bottom pad that kind of splits it in half. If you want your feet a little higher, this is more comfortable. If you want your feet a little lower, it's a little more comfortable if you want to focus more on your quads. We also got a calf thing there as well. So, but the reason you might choose a single leg press is to be able to load one leg more than the other. I will tell you that generally when you perform a leg press, single leg versus bilateral, single leg in my opinion is definitely harder. I do think you get a little bit more bang for your buck from it. There is a little bit of stabilization that's needed at the hip as you're coming up and down. Obviously, it's on the track, so you're not really going to get what you would with a lunge. However, I do feel that it is a little bit more challenging, especially on the adductors and the glutes, because you are doing that unilateral-based option. So give this a shot if you're really looking for a different way to do your leg presses. And I will also add that because many times with leg presses you can put a ton of weight on there. Just talk to anybody about how they brag about what they can leg press, 600 pounds. The unilateral and single leg based option can help, prevent you from having to load so much weight, but you can also go back and forth for legs and do some pretty cool intensity techniques as well. So we're going to sit down here on the pad, and I'm going to adjust this for me real quick. So we've got a couple different options up here. We got some safety pins, just for safety purposes. Make sure you always have those in. But outside of that, set this where you need. For me personally, I need this down one, so when I press it, they automatically flip out, which is really nice about this one. I'm gonna drop a little bit, return them, and then it's gonna catch, okay? So I'm gonna do my left leg, so it's a little bit easier for you to see. I want to make sure our head stays down on the pad as much as possible. We don't really want to be sitting in this flex position. I don't want to say that the leg press is bad for your back. It just depends upon how you use it and if you're, paying attention to what your body is doing during the exercise. As long as you're able to make sure you're not going to completely let that pelvis round up and really round that low back, you're probably going to be okay. But I will say that this has got a 3-piece pad. It does a good job of making sure that doesn't really happen. Some don't have that. But you really just want to make sure that you're not going to over round in that position. But by being forward, your potential of rounding increases. So just keep your head back on the pad. We're going to feel our whole foot on the pad or on the sled. Pick where you want it to be. That's personal preference. Again, this is generally a more ham and glute focus. This is generally a little more quad focus. I'm not going to argue over the science of how much difference it is. Just know that that's the subtle differences between the two. And then you want your foot about where it would be if you had your feet in a very close stance position. So I wouldn't say you want one like way out here. And obviously you don't want to try to really cross your midline a whole lot. You're really just going to have it right where it would normally be. Then what you're going to do is take your whole foot. You're going to press so the sled leaves the catches. And like I mentioned, this one automatically flips away for me. This leg, you're just going to keep down out of the way. You're going to come down to a full range of motion, feel that load up, and then press back again. Down, back. And then you're going to switch legs and then, do the same thing. Right? Pretty simple. So then we're going to re-rack it, turn, drop, and we're good to go. So when it comes to programming on a single leg press, I think 3 to 4 sets of anywhere probably 8 to 15 repetitions is the sweet spot to be. You could certainly make a case for probably having higher reps. I honestly would not really go below 8. I just think going really heavy on the leg press to me doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I think your time is better spent probably doing front squats and back squats, but that's just me. There's also, and from a single leg perspective, then you've obviously got plenty of lunges and split squats and single leg options that give you more bang for your buck, but you can probably actually load a little bit heavier in terms of the amount of work that they're going to get. Obviously you can load more weight on here, but because of the angles and the science and the physics and all that kind of stuff, you're obviously not going to get the full amount of weight that's on there. When it comes to actually performing the repetition, also don't just sit there with your leg completely locked out. I'm sure we've all seen those leg press videos of people basically blowing their shit up. So don't be that guy. Pretty much when you lock it out, have a soft lockout, and try to just keep the constant tension on your legs, because that's really what you're trying to get from this exercise. So don't lose sight of that. This is not the hero exercise to be. It's probably somewhere in your program to improve hypertrophy, blood flow, and overall just get a really good pump and provide some growth. You're really not going to try to see massive performance benefits and try to hoist max weight with a single leg press option. So if you have any questions, please feel free to leave in the comment section. Thanks. Have a great day.